Today I'm going to be placing 87,150 blocks, so 1 block for every subscriber I have. My idea is, since I'm getting closer to 100,000 subscribers, which is a big milestone for any YouTuber, I thought I would commemorate it by building a monument to my subscribers. So every time I get a new subscriber, I have to place a block, so this allows you to torture me by subscribing. I'm not going to mindlessly place the blocks, I'm building a subscriber tower. I want to use every die in the game for this, so that means I have to get 16 dies, so I'll have to get a lot of bone meal and build a squid farm. First thing I had to do was get to the end and get a backup pair of elytra. Since I accidentally combined my two elytras together last episode. Yeah, I actually did that. I didn't want to stick around after that, I just wanted the elytra. For this subscriber tower, the outer layer is going to be every die in the game, so I'm going to need a lot of bone meal for this. Most of the dies can be acquired through bone meal, which makes it a lot easier. Off screen, when I was going through the caves to find iron, I came across this monster room, which has a skeleton spawner in it. That is the most important thing. It was close to my base, and I think it is down in this cave, which is really close. Oh man, this thing looks beautiful. Skeleton spawners are very valuable, so I'm going to be building an XP grinder, and hopefully with a looting sword I can get 0 to 5 bones per a skeleton. My rough math is I need a double chest of bones. I ain't no Pythagoras, I think that's the triangle dude, right? Anyways, I need a lot of bones. I think with that one, that is enough bones for now. That took quite a while, not as long as I expected, maybe a couple of hours. Also ended up with a lot of other loot from this chest on chest of arrows and armor. Off screen, I'm going to disenchant this to get the XP, smelt it down, and I'm going to craft the bows into dispensers since it is annoying to have to get string to craft the bow for a dispenser when I need it. Don't need to make you suffer through that. Even though I just built a farm, the next thing I gotta do is build another one. Most of the dyes should be easy to get with bone meal. There is one exception, which is black like gray and gray dyes, so basically black dye. I need to build a squid farm. Most of the squid farms involve squids spawning and dying from fall damage. However, I want to use the axolotl, since the axolotl will attack any other aquatic mobs, including the squid. I want to try something a bit different, and I never get to use the axolotls. For this, I need to find a lush cave biome. One of the things that I find interesting is that the desert is one of the easier spots to find the lush caves, as there isn't any other trees in the biome, so the azalea tree really sticks out. I think that weird looking tree right there that is just kind of floating there is probably a spot that I went down before, so hopefully it is lit up. And it wasn't lit up, and I ended up dying. I also was a bit distracted with the axolotls, and I missed the creeper creeping up on me. It was pretty easy to recover my inventory since I got the backup elytra earlier. After that, I got some buckets of water and picked up some axolotls. Here is the spot that I'm going to be building the squid farm. It is right in a river biome and is behind my base. Aquatic mobs have their own spawning category, so you want to pick an area with no other rivers, aquifers, or oceans around. The farm will be between wide layers 50 to 63, and the farm is 8 wide inside so that ink sacs will float up to the surface into a row of hoppers. Lastly, you have to light up the inside above light level 0, or else drowned will spawn inside. That way, only the squid can spawn in your farm. With all the farms, I'll have a link in the description. Now let's start digging. Now that that's done, I just had to release the axolotls inside, name them just in case. They look like they are attacking the squid, which is great. One thing I want to watch for is the spawning of the squid and the axolotl cooldown. Good farms work by killing the mobs quickly and spawning new mobs. However, the axolotl has a 2-minute cooldown, so it's a bit of a balancing act as you need axolotls for the amount of squid spawning. I think I need more axolotls for this. I also grabbed some tropical fish in case I need to breed more axolotls, and after that I just released the axolotls into the farm. Since I needed to illuminate the tank to prevent drown from spawning, I mined some sea pickles from the warm ocean. I placed them at the bottom of the tank, tried to use some bone meal on them, and realized I needed some coral blocks underneath. Went back to the coral reef and destroyed the biome by mining all the coral blocks, and that's not an exaggeration. I placed them under the sea pickles, which worked. Sometimes I just like to use blocks like sea pickles that you don't use a lot. While that happened, there was a thunderstorm and I noticed a trapped skeleton horse on the horizon. Skeleton horses are a rare mob. You have to take advantage when this happens. Plus I was working on a tutorial for the skeleton horse, so this was incredibly good timing for me. Getting close to them spawns 4 skeleton horsemen. The skeleton horsemen were fighting between each other, so I only had to kill one of them. The skeleton horses became passive and tame, so I just needed to put leads on them and get them in one spot for whatever I want to do with them later. After that, I had to get all of the dyes, which was quite a bit. I eventually got the ink sacs after AFKing for a few hours. The farm worked, but it could work better if I tweak it a bit. Probably just need more axolotls in it. Most of the dyes were easy, I just needed to use bone meal on a plant. The 2-eye flowers are great for this as you get 2 dyes for 1 piece of bone meal. The tricky ones are the brown dye because you have to plant cocoa beans on the jungle logs and use bone meal to get them to the 3rd stage. The blue dye I got from crafting lapis lazuli, or is it lapis lazuli? Anyways, easy to get because of the villager trade. Lime and green was smelting the sea pickles and cactus. A lot of it was just crafting dyes you need. Since you have the primary colors, you just have to mix them together to get what you want. After that, I headed to my local gravel biome to mine some gravel, went to the desert to mine some sand. I sheared some sheep to get some wool, and I had to turn the concrete powder into concrete via the water bucket. Now let's talk about the location of my sub tower. Originally I wanted it to be at the center of my base, however from flying around with the Elytra I noticed this spot, which looks really good. The terrain suits a cylinder tower and the platform underneath. It won't overwhelm my base, it's just off in the distance. I think it's perfect. First, I'm going to have to build the platform underneath, and I want it to be at the same height as my walkways around my base. Eventually, I want to connect it to those pathways. This I'm going to need 87,000 blocks. That is, I think, 30 double chest. I might be wrong on that. This is going to use all of my blocks, or at least most of them. It's a good thing that I mine out areas a lot, otherwise I wouldn't be even close to the amount of blocks I need. I feel bad for my wrist for what I'm about to do to it, because it is probably going to sound like a cement mixer after this. the blocks placed inside. I was honestly expecting it to take a lot longer than it did, but I was able to do it over a couple of days, and my wrist doesn't sound like a cement mixer. Not yet, at least. Anyways, the next part is the hard part. Well, at least I think it's harder. I have 9,600 blocks of different colors. For each color, I have a concrete block, a powder concrete, and wool. The best way to describe my plan is a rainbow spiral wrapping around the tower. This building looks trippy. I wasn't sure what this would end up looking like since I could only build a small part of it in creative. I might still play around with it and make some changes, but it is crazy to look at, especially knowing how many blocks are in it. Last thing in this episode, I put these signs up to show the progress of my channel, when I started my channel, and when I hit different subscriber milestones. Most of these all happened in the first year, 2020, which was a crazy year for a lot of different reasons. And here's my current subscriber count at 87,170. I still had to place some blocks to get to the current number, and each episode going forward, I'll place more blocks for every new subscriber. Thank you for watching, and if this episode hasn't made it clear, make sure to hit that subscribe button.